copies. If you need one, go ahead and put your hand up. And all right, so ushers, I do need you to bring a few forward. I'm sure if I say that, someone will hear that. So we are working on that. While we are working on that, I will go ahead and with expectation and anticipation, with joy and thanksgiving for all that is happening in the life of this church, call this meeting of the congregation to order. All right, put your hands up again if you need them, because there we go. All right, look around, friends. There we go. All right, that's teamwork. That's good. We're off to a good start. The 5 recommendations are listed for you at the top of your agenda, and as a reminder, since this is a specially called meeting, no additional items of business can be considered. So let us pray. Gracious God, we came today above all to worship you. We stay today now to do the business of the church. Our hope and our prayer all day long is the same, that we would listen for your voice, that we would follow where you lead us, that we would be gracious with one another, and that we would glorify you in all that we say and do. Amen. All right, I know that our clerk of session, Linda Olson, is here this morning. I see her back there. It is clear, Linda, that we have a quorum and then some, so we will go ahead and proceed in good order. A quick reminder of process, since some of you are longtime Presbyterians and some of you are brand new Presbyterians. As hopelessly nerdy as it is, meetings of the PCUSA are organized and run in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order. If you are having a hard time falling asleep, use Google and it will help you out faster than you could imagine. But Robert's rules do help keep us organized, ensure that all voices are heard, and respect the decision-making process. So with that in mind, these first 3 motions come to you from the session. They have been thoroughly discussed and endorsed by the session, so we don't need a second and can proceed immediately to discussion. I do have to read these to you. I will try to read quickly. Thank you ahead of time. The session of Shandon Presbyterian Church recommends that you approve the purchase of the property at 1702 Green Street, including 3 adjacent parcels comprising approximately 0.51 acres, and the existing facility as follows. A purchase price of $325,000 paid to Trinity Presbytery by Shandon Presbyterian Church. An annual fixed per capita offset of $30,000 for each of the next 10 years, so through 2035, for a total savings to Shandon Presbyterian Church of $300,000. Shandon will assume full financial responsibility for all renovations, upkeep, and ongoing use of the property. Should the property be sold within 10 years from the date of purchase, Shandon will be required to provide Trinity Presbytery with an additional $325,000, reflecting the difference between the purchase price and the current $650,000 appraised value, and the per capita offset would end immediately. Should the property be sold after 10 years from the date of purchase, all proceeds will be retained by Shandon Presbyterian Church. This action is contingent upon the approval of Trinity Presbytery to sell the property to Shandon Presbyterian Church at its stated meeting on Saturday, August 23rd, 2025. All right. And you thought my sermons were boring. All right, friends. As we enter into discussion, one point of clarification: the language in letter D related to the unlikely occurrence that the property would be sold in less than 10 years. That was added by the Presbytery's coordinating team just 2 days ago. That's why you're hearing about it now instead of earlier. Since it does come from that team, it is a required addition if we wish to move forward. Session met on Friday to review this, and since that is well within the parameters of what we intend to do anyways, and since we determined it provides no additional risk, we bring you this recommendation officially, even with that change. And for those of you that are like details, just note that the details about the Sustaining Shandon Fund are on the last page of this agenda, so you can see how the current balance of that fund looks and how it would be impacted by property purchases. We do expect that while that fund would cover the purchase price, that we will be looking at a capital campaign in order to fully and appropriately either renovate or reconstruct the Student Center. There will be more about that when the time comes. But regarding the purchase motion, are there any questions or further discussion? I think I see a question over here. John Cook is going to bring you a microphone.
Joan Edwards. Could you please describe the 3 adjacent parcels that are included in the purchase?
So it is 3 parcels total. One of those parcels has the building on it. I'm going to look at John, and he's going to either go yes or absolutely not. One is a parking lot connected to it. Yes, okay, 2/3 of the way there. And we do rent, essentially, parking spaces there for income. And the third is undeveloped. Is that correct? All right. All right, 3 for 3. It's currently just sort of wooded area, is that right? The property itself is on a hill, and so there is a limited amount of what could be done beyond what is currently there. Any other questions? Sure.
Is this property that's adjacent already owned by the Presbytery? It's part of the...
Yes, the 3 parcels have always been treated as one, even though in the county records it's 3 individual pieces. All right. I am surveying, including behind me. All right, it seems that you are ready to vote. All those in favor of recommendation 1, I'm not going to read it again. Please say yes. Yes. Any opposed, no? All right. Well, friends, that's a big deal. All right. Thank you for continuing to invest in campus ministry. We will keep you posted how that Presbytery meeting goes. Moving on to the second recommendation brought to you by Session to approve the purchase of the property at 2602 Divine Street, comprising approximately 0.19 acres and the existing facility as follows: a purchase price of $650,000. That's cash. I omitted that word. Sorry about that. Paid to Polished LLC by Shandon Presbyterian Church, and honoring the remaining 5 years of the lease agreement with May Nail Salon and Spa under the current terms, since the existing lease is transferable to new owners. Quick history, I think many of you know this or have learned it. We received a gift that did not tie our hands to this purpose, but said that should those properties come available, this would hopefully give us the means with which to purchase them. So that felt a bit serendipitous when it came on the market just recently. We did just learn when we got all of the documentation that the current lease for one of the 2 tenants does extend for an additional 5 years. It was originally a 10-year lease. So that does mean that we will own the building. We would own the building for 5 years before we could do anything to it. We would generate income during that time, and we actually think that that's fine. 5 years will give us a chance to address the UKirk building thoroughly and with focus, and then we can move on to the next project. Enough from me on that. Any questions or discussion? Thank you. This is fun for John.
If the current renter, if they if the lease is terminated, will we find another renter or will we start developing early?
So we have 2 leases that will be in play, the one that we cannot terminate ourselves and the other that we can renegotiate or terminate as we see fit. I suppose we could, yes. If that ended sooner, that would free us up to make plans sooner if we chose. Thank you. Anyone else? All right, I don't think I see anyone. Wave at me if I'm wrong. All right. All those in favor of recommendation 2, please say yes. Yes. Any opposed? All right. We are spending some money today, friends. But that is, in fact, what that money was given for. So that is a good and faithful thing. This last recommendation from the session is incredibly boring, but helpful for me, so I appreciate that. That is to approve reallocating the 2025 terms of call salary portion only for me, as is written there. Essentially, it's moving some of my cash salary to housing to address the fact that it was an expensive summer to be a homeowner for me. That doesn't change anything about my terms of call. The IRS just requires us to vote on it. Are there any questions or discussion about that? All right. All those in favor of recommendation 3, please say yes. Yes. Any opposed, no? Thank you very much. All right, these next 2 recommendations come from the Associate Pastor Nominating Committee. Since I was reviewing my Robert's Rules of Order recently, I discovered they do not require a second either. But before that, I do want to recognize our APNC, since they did their work over 2 years ago when we hired April Martin, who was not yet ready to be ordained. They were called back into service to finish the job once she was ready to be ordained. And then when we had another associate pastor position to fill, we just decided to double their work. They are kind and gracious and have worked very hard for a long time. So I want to invite them up here so they can make these recommendations to you together. Kenny Phelps and Laura Winburn served as co-chairs. Jordan Humphreys, Richard Kinnett, Grace Rivers, and Cheryl Rogers also served on this committee. And since they are talking about April and Heather, I'm going to have them come up too. All right, Kenny has a few comments to share before we address the motions one at a time.
Friends, over the past several weeks, the committee has had the joy and privilege of sitting down with both of our pastoral candidates. These weren't just formal interviews, they were rich conversations filled with laughter, reflection, and vision casting. We heard each candidate speak from the heart about their time here at Shandon Presbyterian Church, their dreams for ministry with children, youth, families, and young adults, and their creative ideas for building on the wonderful work already happening here. Our candidate for Associate Pastor of Children and Families is Heather Woolard Lawson. Many of you know Heather's warm presence and deep commitment to nurturing faith in our youngest members. From day one, she has brought an incredible mix of creativity, organization, and artistic flair to her ministry. Even in a part-time role, Heather has developed imaginative programs that engage children and support their parents and families. She has a gift for bringing biblical stories to life in ways that spark curiosity, wonder, and joy. The committee found ourselves imagining bring energy and focus to a full-time role, and we left those conversations inspired about the future. Our candidate for Associate Pastor of Youth and Young Adults is April. Has a ability to, here comes Jenny to save me, with a microphone. Thank you. Our candidate for Associate Pastor of Youth and Young Adults is April Martin. April has a remarkable ability to build relationships and create safe, welcoming spaces. She has made it a priority to ensure that our middle and high school youth feel connected, seen, valued, and loved. She knows their names, their stories, and their gifts, and helps them see how those gifts can be used to serve God and others. April has also been intentional in engaging young adults, inviting them into conversations about faith, purpose, and calling, and helping them find their place within our church community. Her ministry is about more than programs. It's about cultivating belonging, trust, and spiritual growth. The committee can say with one voice that meeting with Heather and April was energizing. We came away impressed by their skills and ideas and moved by their deep love of this congregation. We believe God has gifted us with two leaders who are not only talented and visionary, but also deeply rooted in faith and eager to continue serving alongside Jenny McDevitt and John Cook in the work of the gospel. Thank you for entrusting our committee with this process. It has been a privilege to listen, to pray, and to discern on behalf of this congregation. We have felt your support and prayers at every step, and we are grateful for the opportunity to help guide this important moment in the life of our church.
So if you are wondering why we just did a long introduction of two people you have known for about 2 years now, that's because the committee deserved the chance to share the joy of their work, and April and Heather deserved the chance to have this moment. Since this is their first ordained call, this is a really big deal, and it is usually a super stressful day. Now, I will say they seem slightly less stressed than some other circumstances, but it was good and the right thing to do to kind of fulfill this full process. Our candidates have had what essentially amounts to the longest interviews in the history of the Presbyterian Church. So we will move our two motions to call 2 associate pastors and shift our clergy staff from 2 to 4. But before we do that, I'm going to ask Heather and April to step outside so we can talk about them. Assuming these votes go as I suspect they will, we will invite them back in together to share the news, so we'll do these both. The first motion the APNC brings to you is to call April Martin as Associate Pastor for Youth and Young Adult Ministries at Shandon Presbyterian Church with the terms of call as attached. Is there any question or discussion about that? I got one there, and all right, we need to get a microphone, John Cook. All right, we've only got the one, right, okay. Yes, Bill.
Just a quick question. Could you speak to the process, the presbytery process from this point forward?
The whole process.
Well, the abridged version.
Okay. Should you all vote in favor of these two motions, or even one of them, I suppose, but that would get a little weird, the candidates who are elected today will be examined by the presbytery at that same meeting on Saturday, August 23rd. So that's a big meeting for us. And should the presbytery vote to approve them, which we are confident that it will, that will be a stressful exam. Just so you know, they stand in front of the whole presbytery, and anyone can ask them any question they want. It is a joy and a delight. And so, assuming they would be approved at that time, then that information would come back to us, and when everything gets in line for them to be ordained, we would have 2 different services of ordination and installation. Should everything go as we expect, April's service will be September 7th at 3, thank you. It takes a village. And Heather's service will be the November 24th at 4 p.m., says our director of media and music back there. Does that help? Is that what you were looking for? Great. And I know that Mike back there, Mike, the microphone only goes so far. If you would meet John halfway, that means we can all hear you. Thank you.
I believe I can speak on behalf of the church that we're very pleased with the job that April and Heather are doing. I did have a question. I can't remember what their compensation was when we approved it earlier in the year. Can you tell us, is there a difference between what we're approving today and what was offered then?
Sure. So what we approved earlier in the year, what the session approved earlier, because they weren't coming before you as candidates at that time, is the same salary and benefits. We will see a slight increase in our budget because once you are ordained, you are considered self-employed. I have no earthly idea why. If you want to ask questions about that, Jenna Brinson's there or Bill McConnell's behind me. But there are some different calculations for that, so there will be a small increase in our budget, but we did actually account for that, anticipating that we would have them ordained for half of a year. All right. Any other questions? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of motion 1 from the APNC, please say yes. Yes. Any opposed, no. That is shocking information, but delightful. All right, we will clap for them together in just a minute. The second motion the APNC brings to you is to call Heather Woolard Lawson as Associate Pastor for Children and Family Ministries at Shandon Presbyterian Church, with terms of call as attached. You will see they look very familiar. Any questions or discussion on this? All right, I assume that means you are ready to vote. All those in favor, please say yes. Yes. Any opposed, no. All right, there were hands of victory in the back on all of this, so I just want you to know that. So friends, I think it would be a great time to invite our 2 new associate pastors-elect back into the room. I just want you to know there were like waves of excitement in the back when we voted. If you didn't get the memo, we voted yes. And we're so very excited. We did get a chance to share the rest of the process, so they will be praying fervently for you on Saturday, August 23rd. And they have marked their calendars for 2 services of ordination and installation. So, friends, it has been a big meeting with tremendous decisions that will carry us forward in really exciting ways. I am profoundly grateful to you and so grateful to be part of this community. I know my colleagues share that. You are the reason this is possible, you and the grace of God that surrounds you. So friends, let us stand and sing together our closing prayer, giving thanks to God for all that is happening. Now, following the hymn, I'm going to ask that you stay where you are so the 4 pastors can make our way out and greet people there. So just pretend we're going to redo the benediction, and then let us get ourselves down the row. And assuming there will be no objections, the meeting will be adjourned following that hymn. Cookies and lemonade are waiting.